I always like to keep a leash by the kennel because when the dog's first learning potty training and housebreaking, you need to always have the dog on a leash, point blank. Ultimately, the crate is this dog's place in the house. And you want to make sure that the crate is something that the dog is comfortable with. I feed my dogs in the crate, I give them water in the crate. They learn that there are treats and there's toys that come in the crate, so the dog actually looks at it like its own little room. And the dog's actually a lot happier when he has its own little space. So there's really not a bad downside to a crate, especially when you're trying to housebreak a dog. You want to teach him to train his bladder to hold it, so eventually you can go all day and the dog can hold his bladder no problem. Good. So I like to put the leash on in the crate so he's not really pushing out. And then once he's out, I give him the okay. I'll leash him up right here because I want my dog to be on a leash everywhere. I'll basically escort him, so if he makes a mess in the house on my way, that's my fault because I have full control of where he goes. And the 15-foot leash allows you to give him a little bit more leeway just when he's like going in the yard. So say if I want to stay here on the concrete, I'm in my house shoes, I can go ahead and let him extend out and see if he has to use the bathroom. So what this does is also allows you to show him where you need to pee, where you need to poop. So this is like very, very direct. You're saying, I take you to your area, this is where you go, and they'll establish the habit to go ahead and keep on going in that area. Also, when you decide to go back in the house, you want to be able to just say, okay, hey, let's go. And you don't have to go chasing the dog around. So I like to keep a leash on everywhere around the house just until I have a little bit more pack leadership, and the dog will actually be a happier dog knowing that he always knows where to go because I'm there to show him. And then some dogs, if they have a little fight going in the kennel and they kind of like, they still want to go out and play, I'll just go right up underneath their belly and just kind of guide them in. And the fair thing to do is if you're leaving a dog in the kennel for an extended amount of time, I like to use a Kong. This is a nice chew toy, it's pretty indestructible. I like to put some dog food in there, stuff it real good. And I'll pop it in there and give him a little toy, give him something to do. Basically, that's how we would leave our dog, say if we have to go to work now, and then you want to try to get someone in there maybe to let him relieve himself if the dog's going to be in there for past like 5 hours. But there's no problem with having a dog in the crate for 5 hours. Most of the time they're going to sleep. If you got to do 8 hours, I definitely would recommend try to get the dog someone to let him out, but they can last a whole night, overnight, or throughout the day. But make sure that they get plenty of exercise before they go in and plenty of exercise after. You want to make sure the dog relieves himself before the dog goes into the crate because it's unfair to think that they're going to hold it all day long. So make sure that happens and that you watch them use the bathroom before you put them in their crate. You maybe even have some newspaper just in case they have a spill. Give them a little something that'll absorb. I'll use cedar shavings, which is like wood chips, just for the first part of crate training. He's a young puppy, he's burning a lot of calories. I use about a half a can of wet food as well as some dry food. And I always like to wet the food a little bit because what happens with kibble is it's in a compressed state, so it eventually expands. So I like to do its expansion before it gets in my dog's stomach. So there he has a little bit of wet food with some meat, some kibble. So he should like that. So as you can see, Nas likes his food. So what I usually do is I give my dog about 10-15 minutes. It's important to establish that it's a 15-minute eating interval so you can make sure you can be efficient and teach him that when the food is down, it's time to eat. And you don't waste your time waiting for him to eat. Give him his portion, get it done, and move on with the day. As you see, Nas knew it was time to eat. Okay, so now that it's 6 o'clock, we're gonna take the water out the kennel because we want to prevent all accidents. The chances are that he won't pee in the crate if he's peed a couple times before he went to sleep. If you leave the water in there after 6 o'clock, there's a higher chance of him actually peeing in the crate, which you don't want because you don't want to have to clean up the mess every day. It's 6 o'clock, I'm gonna go ahead and take this water out. Time to go out for his pee. So no more food and water after 6. So this is about the 3rd time I've taken him out today to use the bathroom, making sure that I give him plenty of chances to pee because the dog's bladder needs to be trained. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes to hang outside and just see if it has to relieve himself. If so, you want to go ahead and reinforce the behavior with good potty, good boy. You want to make sure that when he's doing it, you're reinforcing it and you're telling him that outside is the good place. If the dog's using the bathroom inside, that's your fault. Eventually, he'll learn that this is the right place to be. So to make the most of your time and be the most efficient, you want to make sure you have a feeding time, poop time. You want to make sure the dog knows when it's time to train, and you want to make sure that's all part of his daily schedule. You won't have to worry about him pooping in the house. You won't have to worry about him pooping in the crate. And the easier it is for him, the easier it is for you. All right, so now we're gonna go take a little car ride. So we're gonna be loading him up in a crate, got him on leash. And when I have the dog on leash, I like to keep them, you know, right next to me. Not too tight, because we're not necessarily working on heeling. I just want a little bit of control so I don't get tangled up in this leash. Hup. And the trick to getting them into the crate so easily is just repetition. You know, the dogs do it in and out every day, no problem, no sweat. So, you know, from the car to the house to the outside kennel, this should be a hassle-free process. First things first, when I pull up anywhere, I always want to make sure I leave a door or a window open because dogs need ventilation. It only takes a little bit of time before the dogs can overheat in the car. And make sure it's safely cocked open. Usually I'll keep mine all the way open so it locks. So just in case the wind comes or something happens, it can't just close right back. And then another little device I have, this door stop that I can actually clip here. It keeps the door from actually even closing. So this is a real important feature to have because if not, someone might close your door and your dogs can possibly die from heat exhaustion. For vans, cars, hatchbacks, keep something open, you need it open, you want to get one of these. We make sure all the doors stay cocked open so we have no issues. I have the dog in a crate inside the vehicle, so I like to leash him up right before they get out the crate, so I make sure he's nice and secure. So what I'll do is I'll grab the collar and go ahead and clip him up. I want to make sure I strap the dog up inside before I let him out, just to make sure he doesn't get loose and go run away somewhere.